So we just finished the Trans-America Trail and we are about to do the rig walk around of the vehicle and everything that we used during that trail. If you haven't seen the series, we filmed like 34 videos. There's 34 videos on the trail of every day of everything that went on. So go watch all of those and then all of this will make sense on what was going on.
Yeah, so we're still tired and dirty. We just got done driving like 40 plus hours. You drove straight through. This is the Jeep. It's 2010 Jeep Wrangler. It's unlimited, JKU, four-door. It's got 175,000 miles on it now. Only washed 3 times during the trip and we drove straight through, so it's covered in bugs and dirt, but that's okay. So we'll start with, I guess we'll start at the front, work our way back. This is the steel bumper by Red Rock. Bought it used with the guy that bought it off Extreme Terrain. I think it was like $460 original. I got it for like 200 bucks. Has a winch mount on it. It's got D-rings. Running a Smittybilt 9,500 pound XRC winch. Headlights are called Daymakers. They're Amazon brand. Set came with the headlights and the fog lights. They're LED. 3 LEDs in the headlights and then 1 for the high beam. Awesome. Angry eye. Headlight covers, bezels, whatever. Grill inserts. These are the first mods I did when I first bought the Jeep. I'm not getting rid of them. I like the way they look. So if you hate them, whatever, go away. Working our way back. So you'll notice we have a Rough Country sticker on the windshield. That's because Rough Country was a sponsor for our Trans-America Trail trip. And they basically gave me free reign of selecting equipment for the Jeep for this trip, so we went all out. Did the 4-inch X series lift, 4-inch coils front and back. It's got the N3 nitrogen shocks, adjustable control arms, adjustable track bar, so you don't have to do the drop pitman arm. As you saw if you watched the series, we ran into some issues early on with the springs in the back being too soft for all our weight. So the suspension's still in place other than the rear springs, which were by Clayton Off-Road, and those are heavy-duty springs, 4.5 inch. So 4 inch in the front, 4.5 inch in the back, to kind of accommodate for all the extra weight. We also have the steel inner and outer fenders from Rough Country. Underneath, there's skid plates for the gas tank, front and rear differentials, and the evap canister. Those are all by Rough Country. So that's all the Rough Country stuff that's on here. Thanks to Rough Country for that. These are steel steps, tubular steps by a company called Tiger, again Amazon brand. Basically steel steps replace the plastic. They do have an extra steel tube along the bottom to act as a skid, what do you call those?
Slider.
Rock slider. Reading the reviews, everybody said that they were really good and they liked the way they looked, and I could only find one review of a guy who said that he actually needed to use them as sliders and they worked well. We did get to test them on the trip. We came down with all the weight, fully loaded, all the gear on top, everything, full weight, came down as hard as we could on a rock. And I don't think it was on this side. I think it's on the other side, but just a tiny little, teeny tiny little dent from that. So it supported the weight of the entire Jeep and worked great as a rock slider. Protected our rocker panel like it's supposed to, and pretty happy with those. Wheels are XD series wheels. They were on the Jeep when I bought them. They're actually an older model and they're chrome, and they were plastic dipped several times. I've actually plastic dipped them, re-plastic dipped them probably 10 times. So you can see, like, just from getting used, the plastic dip is peeling off and you can see the chrome underneath. I like the way they look. They're 17 inch, so we were able to stick 17 inch 35 inch Falcon mud terrain tires on there, pretty much the same size as a stock rim, so we didn't have to do anything crazy. There are 1.5 inch back spacers in the back to kind of bring them out a little bit, a little more stability, a little more width. And those were by Jke Motor. There's a video on our page about the installation of those wheel spacers. So as far as the Falcon mud terrains, the reason we went with those is because they were $100 cheaper per tire than the BFG KO KM2s. I'm stoked with them. They worked great. We didn't get stuck anywhere. We didn't have any problems with traction or grip or anything like that. So they worked really well. So we ran them aired down pretty much the entire 6 weeks of the trip. They're showing a little wear. I believe the wear is worse in the back than it is in the front. I would say they went down about 33% in an 8,500 mile, mostly off-road trip. It's pretty good wear for a tire. Nothing uneven or anything like that. Even wear. We did notice that because we left them aired down the entire time, sometimes when the temperature would drop, we'd end up with a flat spot, and as soon as we'd start moving, you'd kind of get that whoop, 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 until they would work themselves out. When we went to go air them back up, we actually realized that the fronts, we originally aired them down to 15, and the backs we aired them down to 20. All of them were below 10 when we went to go air them back up. That's all the weight on it and everything like that, and altitude changes and stuff. They held up. So they didn't slip off the bead. We didn't have any flats. We didn't need to change any tires the entire time. They actually worked really, really well. On the highway, they're really nice and quiet. Most mud terrain tires make a ton of noise on the highway. So as soon as I had them put on and they were fully inflated and I took them on the road, I was actually really impressed with how quiet they are. Nice aggressive tread pattern on them. So you can still get that aggressive mud terrain look without having to buy an all-terrain just strictly for the road noise, which is, I believe, why most people go with all-terrain instead of mud terrain. But I like them. I'm happy with them. They performed really well. So in the back, got our trasheroo. If you don't know what these are just basically a storage bag to throw your garbage in. We keep some tarps in there, our ground tarp for our tent. We do keep garbage in there. Stuff we need to get to real quick. Roscoe's lead, some extra paracord. I believe there's some ratchet straps in here. Roscoe pooping bags, anything we need to grab quick that we don't want to go digging through here, we just keep on the outside. This pocket here, we just usually keep like shopping bags in. I don't know if we have any left. But anytime we have any shopping bags, we shove them in there. We just use those as garbage bags. And then when this fills up, we just empty it out. Straps right to the spare. The rear bumper is Smittybilt Atlas rear bumper. It's steel, class 3 rated tow hitch built right into the bumper. The tire swing out is separate, but I bought them both together just to support the extra weight of the tire. Let me pop this open. Open it, just pull this handle. It's got 2 spots to store 2 jerry cans, so we put 2 jerry cans with the fuel. I mean, you could switch that out and just do water or oil if you're weird. I don't know why you do that, but anything that can fit into these jerry can slots. And behind each jerry can, there's actually a molly pattern. So if you didn't want to use jerry can spaces, you could put something else in there, like any kind of molly strap packs. You could put packs in here. You could do whatever you want, really, and it'll support the storage for that. We have a high lift jack mounted here. It comes with these clamps specifically for mounting a high lift jack. Keeps it out of the way. That actually worked out really well. We didn't have to use that. Actually, we did use that on the first day one. I probably want to get like wing nuts, so it's a little bit easier to get this off, but at the same time, it's a lot harder to steal if you don't have the right size wrench. I had to rewire the third brake light. This bumper comes with an extension for the third brake light to raise it up over your bigger spare tire. You have to rewire that yourself. So I ran the wires for that and for the antenna myself, and mounted the antenna using a bracket I already had. This is the bracket that used to mount to the spare tire before I got the tire swing up. It was just mounted to this, so I just made my own holes, mounted this CB antenna to it. This CB antenna is a Firefly Fire Stick. Don't remember the model number. It's a 3-foot 36-inch antenna. The roof rack is EAG, which is E Auto Grills. They're one of those companies that makes a lot of cheap accessories for Jeeps. Roof rack included. The roof rack's been out for a couple of years, but they just redid it and included the wind fairing on the front, because these things were making like tons and tons and tons of noise. So people were buying aftermarket wind fairings and attaching them themselves. So now when you buy it, it comes with it, which is nice. Mounts right to the rain gutters on the Jeep here and here. And in the rear, it mounts to the window hinges and holds about 300 pounds. So the reason we went with this kind of roof rack is I'm not a big fan of like the exoskeleton style roof racks, and we're not running a rooftop tent, so we don't need something that can support 1,000 pounds. So we just got this to mount accessories to it or whatever, and obviously put our cases on top, and that's worked out really well. I'm pretty happy with that. roof rack. Now I can take it off, I mean, it's kind of heavy. It weighs about 150 pounds by itself. So taking it on and taking it off by yourself is kind of a pain in the ass to do without scratching up your roof. As you can see, I already have scratched up my roof taking it off myself, putting it back on. I don't really care that much. I use this Jeep has plenty of scratches on it. So mounted to that, we have the Road Shower 4, which is a 7-gallon, basically aluminum tube, holds 7 gallons worth of water, has an air chamber in it so you can pressurize it. And the concept is, while it sits in the sun, because it's black, it's supposed to absorb heat and heat water up. So on a, I'll call it a 5-week trip at this point, right? 5-week trip. We use this twice each. So a total of 4 times for showering. Both times the water was cold. And I also used it like twice for dishes. Other than that, I'd say in the past 2 weeks we haven't even touched it. It's kind of a pain to use. Every time you want to use it to pressurize it, you got to take an air compressor out. You hook it up to this Schrader valve up here and pump it full of air, and then the water just kind of comes out of this hose nozzle. So you can hook a hose up to it. It comes with an actual like short 3-foot hose. I got rid of that. I didn't like it. It like straps to this and it sits on the outside of it. I just got a 25-foot hose so we didn't have to shower like right next to the Jeep, get everything around the Jeep all muddy. But other than that, it's basically just been holding an extra 7 gallons of water for us in case we run out of water. I don't know how many more times I'm going to use it as a shower. Think about modifying it and trying to come up with a 12-volt system where we can heat it up on our own. Some kind of oil heater or something like that they use for like race cars to heat the oil up. We'll probably just install that somehow, run it on a switch, flip the switch when we want to heat it up. See how that works out. But if you even decide to keep it, I may sell it. If anybody want to buy it, I'll give it to you cheap. The cases on top are made by Plano. They are 105 quart plastic case, kind of a soft plastic. Not really, I mean, they're pretty heavy duty. We didn't really run into too much weather, but we did run into a lot of dust, and we didn't really find too much dust in our cases. So they held up pretty well as far as keeping stuff out of them. One of them is our kitchen. One of them just has a bunch of heavy blankets in it, our tent heater. Another one has all my tools in it. One of them has Braxton's clothes, one of them has my clothes, and the other one has all our bathroom stuff. And the rack itself holds 6 of those pretty nicely with a little bit of extra space, so we can kind of slide things around if you have to. Just loosen up the ratchet straps so you can move things around and kind of open cases without taking them down. Those were good. Lots of space. That's one thing I like about them. We did drop them. I dropped 2. I dropped the one with Braxton's clothes in it, and it broke. A little corner of the plastic just kind of broke out. And I dropped another one with the blankets and stuff in it. And that was actually lighter than Braxton's case, and that one also broke. So don't drop them from this height. If they're down here, you can drop them. They hold up pretty well. They got wheels on them. Makes them easy to move around. I like them as a solution. I'm probably just going to keep using them. I don't know if I'll buy new ones to replace the ones I broke. But I do like them. They're tons of space, and for the most part, they worked out really well. And the fact that they're soft, once you ratchet them, they kind of pull themselves in. They don't move, which is nice. What else? Lighting. We got, these are also Jke motor, 52-inch light bar, and then these, I guess they're 4-inch, 6 LEDs in them. Windshield lights. It's like $120 for the whole set. Came with all the lights and these mounters, these mounting brackets. So that was a good deal, and I've used them a lot, and they still work great. So they don't get any water inside of them. The paint on these are chipping kind of, but I don't really care. I really don't. Up front, the amber lights are by a company called Run D. These were $140 for the pair. So these are a little bit more robust, a little better built. These are amber. Just kind of, I'm not a big fan of bright white light, so I kind of like these to kind of fill in the color of the light in front of the Jeep when we're running the lights. And also at camp, it's nice to have amber lights. The bugs don't get as attracted to these as the white ones. Somebody said amber lights don't attract bugs. They definitely do. We tried the other night, and we only had the amber lights on, and they were all swarming around the amber lights. So there wasn't as many bugs, but as far as them not being attracted to the amber lights, the bugs definitely are. On this side, we have axe and shovel. Just using quick fists. You can buy these in a kit for like $30. They come with, I think, 6 of these, and then 2 like big ones for like I guess like a fire extinguisher or a NOS tank or something like that. Not really sure. They're just screwed directly into the rack. I pre-drilled them and then I screwed them in. Makes it super easy to get stuff off. Nice and quick. The shovel and axe are both by Fiskars. This is an adjustable height shovel, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. And for taller people like Braxton, you can make it longer. The axe is a chopping axe. I think it's 26 inch chopping axe. We didn't use that at all, which is fine. I did use the shovel quite a bit. As far as the quick fizz go, maybe 3 or 4 days into the trip, I literally reached up like this to go pull this off and it broke. I don't know if it was because we were sliding cases on top of it and it just got worn out or whatever, but that didn't hold up too good. So we just took some paracord and tied it up. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to check to see if other people had problems with durability as far as these go, because that was kind of disappointing because they barely used it and it broke. But other than that, they stayed up there the entire time, didn't have any problems with vibration, anything like that, so that was good.
So I'm going to take you through kind of my setup and how I was riding in the Jeep. Of course, I was sitting passenger, and typically what I do is I have the camera in between my legs on the ground, and it's on a gimbal. I'll show this in a later video of the exact setup I had, but I put the gimbal handle in between here and the camera just sits right here. So it's kind of a pain to, you know, get in and out of the Jeep because you don't want to step on the camera, but you know, you had to get it done. I end up actually keeping my laptop charger here because I'm usually editing, and here we have a what is this called?
It's a power inverter.
Yeah, so we have a 410 watt power inverter, and my laptop pulls like 160, and we've ran, I think the most we've ran was the laptop and the drone chargers. So up here we actually have kind of our charging station. So we have this like drone, all of our drone, we run the Mavic, and it kind of fits in there perfectly, and you know, whatever needs to be charged is all plugged up in here. The GoPro sits up here for the quick shots, all the batteries and all of that. And then in here, when I'm editing on my laptop, I keep pretty much everything I need. So I use a mouse because I like a mouse. I have my headphones, my memory card reader, wallet, iPhone cable, another memory card reader. I pretty much have 2 of everything, but like I said, I'll go through all of that. We do have an adapter for the inverter, but the issue is this can't plug in all the way, or else it will turn it off or on. So you have to, it was kind of finicky, so I didn't really like using it that much because it was just annoying. On the side here we have in one of the, Jesus, this obviously comes out. So we have one of the cigarette lighters, what are these called, like 12 volt? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have I have a little Wasabi Power 12 volt USB connector. One is to charge my iPhone, and another one is actually connected to our AT&T Mobility. It's a little wireless hotspot. This is what it looks like, and so that just stays on. It can plug into the, what is that thing called? It's one of these guys. It's what you plug the
OBD2.
Yeah, the OBD2 sensor in. It usually plugs in there. Brandon kept kicking it, so we were afraid it was going to break, and we kept it up here to potentially just get better service. I'm about 50-50 on it. Where we were at, since we were with AT&T, we barely had service, or we rarely had service a lot of the times, and so it was just annoying. We can go into detail. If you watch our videos, we had a lot of issues uploading videos. Even with this, there are times when this would have service, but then neither of our phones will have service, or one of the phones will have service and nothing will have, it's all AT&T, the same network, but all things work randomly. But that's where we have to look into other options for our future trips. In here, I keep the drone in here. It fits actually kind of perfectly. So the drone sits in here with the controller. It'd be nice to have it easier accessible, just because it's kind of annoying to kind of grab things around. Paper maps, I keep whatever state we're in. right here for the paper map, so I'm able to look through it and just kind of reference and with all of our GPS and all of that. Underneath, actually, so underneath I keep, as you can see, I wear sandals. Is my, if you saw in the videos, I have, people call them like trench foot. I mean, that's dirt, but that's all weird. But I keep shoes. These are actually Brandon's, but these are hiking shoes. And I keep, well, I had this little container that had all my toiletries, so like nail clippers, tweezers, toothbrush, toothpaste, my shaver, all that stuff underneath there. So I was just able to get it. I have no clue where it's at, actually. So Brandon has his, hopefully he'll show you what that is. It was like a knockoff GoPro cases that we use, and they're nice. Anything else? There's a little, we both keep rags kind of like tucked in right next to us. I use this to wipe off my screen because it got dusty. And then the way I kind of access my laptop is,
I've been sticking right here.
so I keep my laptop kind of sitting right here, just so that I can grab it to upload if I need to edit, if there's time to edit anything. Back here's my backpack with all my camera equipment and stuff, but most of my camera equipment that I need access to is readily available. So this is all kind of like my backup stuff, my backup camera and all that. This has more stuff in it that I actually did not end up using. I probably used it once, but we could have done without it. Over here is my tripod that I've used to take pictures. I've used it a couple times. Really didn't take up much space since it's right there, so I guess it's fine. I guess that's it in terms of tech. Yeah, and then on this side thing here, I keep a little flashlight in here. I keep my headlamp in here. This is a nice flashlight. And then we have these two little guys. What these are, I know a lot of people have problems drinking water. These are like little water sweeteners. So one's grape, one's raspberry tea. And you can add a little or a lot. It depends on what you need. And it helps you get water down. Sure, it could be artificial flavoring and sweetener and all that stuff, but I've been drinking a lot of these, and I tell people to get them all the time because it helps you drink water, and you need to drink a lot of water on these trips. You can get them at Walmart or any grocery store. They should have them. So now we're gonna go through, oh gosh, this is just a mess. We're gonna go through everything that is on the inside.
So driver's side, this is where I sat the entire trip. What I have here is this is called the Jke Dock. It's made by Vector Off-Road. They're a fabrication company that makes mostly Jeep stuff. It just mounts into some stock mounting points on the Jeep and just gives you this 1-inch steel bar which you can mount things to. You just get these little 1-inch clamps with the ball mount. You can see here I have a camera mount, tripod mount. So originally I was using that for a GoPro when I was doing the vlog without Braxton. Just have a camera here, didn't have to like hold it like this or anything like that, or I could turn it around and use it as a dash cam. As far as navigation goes, we're using an iPad. We were using a cheap Android tablet. It basically fell apart only a few days into the trip, so we got an iPad. We run a combination of Earthmate, which is by Delorme, and Gaia for GPS apps, and also Braxton with the paper maps, just to kind of double check and triple check everything, make sure we're not missing any trails, anything like that. That worked really well. And then over here I have my iPhone mounted so I can see my messages, text messages, keeping, you know, usually I'm just recording the route on the phone and then I'm actually viewing the route on Gaia on the iPad so that I can actually see turn by turn, like where we need, because there's no turn by turn instructions, it's just a line of the Transamerica Trail. So even without service, when there's no map on there, you can see the line and kind of see, you pull up to an intersection, say it looks like it goes left, and you go left. So that worked out well. The mounts that we use for these are RAM mounts, X-grip RAM mounts. This one's specifically for phones. This one's specifically for 10-inch tablets. And they hook up to the same kind of system as this, just a 1-inch little clamp for the bar. As you saw Braxton explain, it comes with this little tray because the Jeep, this is 2010. I know the newer ones have a tray here. This actually came in super handy because I didn't have a tray there. I'm not even sure what we would have done with all that crap if that wasn't there. And on the other side, just kind of stuck in between the window and the mounting bar is Delarm InReach, just a little satellite messenger / tracker. This actually allows us to have GPS on the iPad because the iPad is just a Wi-Fi version, doesn't have GPS built into it. So you Bluetooth connect to this, and every app that requires GPS can use the GPS that's built into this. Also, there's a system built into EarthMate where you can actually send messages, text messages using this through satellite. They're limited to 140 characters, but it's super handy when you don't have service, just to let your loved ones know that you're okay and everything's good, or where you are. And this also beams our location every 10 minutes. Certain people in my family have access to that, so they can click a link and see exactly where we were the last time that it beamed our location. So if they don't hear from us, if something were to happen and weren't able to touch this thing, or we weren't able to get to our phones, or something catastrophic happened, our location is known by a few people and they can always find us. It also has an SOS built into it. You hit this button, it'll ask if you're sure. I think you have to slide this thing over and then hit the button. When that happens, they'll send a chopper right to your location, no questions asked. Just in case there's a medical emergency or something like that. If you're hiking by yourself or rock climbing or something and you fall, you can get help. And that costs a lot of money, but you know, in the back of your head, it's always nice to know that you're safe, or somebody can get to you if they have to get to you. So that's why we carry this thing around. It stays in the Jeep pretty much at all times, and it's always beaming my location every 10 minutes. Now, up here I have the this is a switch pod by Apollo Intech. It's similar to the S Pod. I like it a little bit better. It's a little more stylish. It has a voltmeter in it. Tells you how many volts are left in the battery. So a lot of the times when Braxton was sitting here, we had the Jeep off and we were running electronics and charging multiple things at once, we can actually keep an eye on this and make sure that we're not getting down below voltage to where the Jeep won't start. So we noticed that was about 10.9. Once it dropped below 11, this will start blinking and the inverter actually starts beeping. So we have an alarm basically that goes off to let us know that we're about to kill the battery. As far as the battery goes, I'm running a Optima yellow top deep cycle battery. You guys know what that looks like. There's no point in showing it to you. So that's been good. That's a marine grade deep cycle battery, meaning you can run the juice all the way down and up and down and up and down a bunch of times without doing any damage to the actual recharging capabilities of the battery. So as far as us being able to run electronics, those two things in combination with each other, the inverter, the battery, and the switch pod, have been super useful. And we never really ran into any problems where we didn't have enough juice to run our electronics. We always were able to get things charged, and whenever we ran low on the battery, just run the Jeep for like 20 minutes and it charged the battery up pretty quick, and we were usually good to go after that. Well, in the back, Braxton showed you before, I keep an extra sweater here, he keeps an extra sweater here. Just quick grab access. We both have extra hats hanging off the back of the seat. Underneath Braxton's bag, just not drop your laptop or your bag. Extension cord. So when we're at campsites and we didn't feel like sitting in the Jeep, or Braxton didn't feel like sitting in the Jeep, there's a 100-foot extension cord. We just run it to the inverter. Inside here is all recovery gear. It's air compressor, tow straps, tree saver, you name it, anything related to recovery, gloves, the winch controller, all that stuff is in here. As you see, we're like peanut butter just kind of sitting here, and foot spray and extra stuff. There's enough space here to just kind of stick like stuff that we need to grab real quick, and then the door obviously holds it in place. So empty water bottles, when we want to reuse water bottles, get stuck in there. Underneath the seat is just my jackets. I got my winter jacket and a light rain jacket and a heavy rain jacket. Those are just shoved under the seat, so that worked out well. And then Braxton's pillow. This is the system we've been using the entire trip. This is basically, his pillow goes here, just kind of gets shoved in between the headrest and the window. My pillow goes here, just gets shoved in between the glass and the space in here. And below that is 2 camping chairs. I don't think we'll bring those next time because we didn't use them at all. Like we used them when we were set up camp. If we were at camp the same spot for more than a couple days, which was only Flagstaff, yeah, for Expo, we'll use the camping chairs. But other than that, we usually just end up sitting. I end up sitting on the plastic cases when they're on the ground. So as far as shedding weight, I'm pretty sure we could probably get rid of those for the next trip. Let's go to the other side. There's Braxton's toiletries.
Hey.
So I didn't show you on the other side, but I basically have one of these set up for me as well underneath my seat. Just all our stuff that we don't want to get all dusty and dirty. Easy to access, easy to slide in and out. This worked really good. This is Braxton's like clutch last minute idea right before we left, right? Like we were just kind of emptying all the extra accessories out of these cases. He's like, oh, those would be really good for our toiletries. So that's what they ended up being used for. Braxton water bottle. This ladder is just kind of here specifically for taking like the kitchen case and the tools if I ever have to take them off the roof rack. We can stand on the steel fenders, so this is pretty much how we get in and out. We can stand on these. We have a lot of room to kind of move around the vehicle. We can stand on the rear bumper, get back here. You can actually stand on the bumper and reach from the back. I've climbed on the hood and all that, but as far as like lifting heavy cases, the tool case is well over 100 pounds and the kitchen case is about, I don't know, it can be anywhere from 50 to 100 pounds depending on how much stuff is in it. So the ladder is just folds up nice and easy. It didn't take up any space, and I just figured I might as well bring it in case we got to get that stuff off. We only used it a couple times, but.
Yep.
And you got Roscoe's seat. This has morphed a couple times. He had a bed, then we threw it out because it was disgusting. And this is his third blanket. Anything flat that we have, like sandals, just kind of stick them here. Underneath there's an extra backpack. It's empty just in case we need to like pack a bunch of crap and move because the Jeep is stuck or something. The extra backpack just stays under his bed. There's extra road maps, some targets, shooting targets. Anything flat that's not going to make him uncomfortable goes under his bed and kept there. You can see rubber boots just kind of shoved in there just in case we need them. We are also kind of sticking maps in here in between the headrest for the rear seat and the front seat, so plenty of space for just little odds and ends and, you know, stuff that we don't have to get to all the time. Braxton showed you before where this tripod was. We have a rubber strap and that's attached. I guess we'll go over this once we get all the other stuff out, but this is a dog crate I bought at PetSmart for Roscoe when I first got Roscoe, and he got out of it. He escaped twice and I just gave up on keeping him in a crate. And what I ended up doing was taking the crate apart, and two of the sides of the crate, this is a $120 crate, were exactly the size to fill up this entire space in the back of the Jeep. So this has been my setup pretty much since I bought the Jeep and got the dog. They're just rubber strapped around the roll cage and then to the, I guess, cargo hooks down there, and that holds this in place. If you have carabiners or anything that you want to hang on here, you can just clip them on here. We have this rubber strap here holding our camping table and his tripod in place. And it also acts as a barrier to keep all the heavy crap that we put in the back, just in case we roll over or something happens or we get in an accident, like front end accident, and everything would want to come forward. This will actually hold it in place. So that worked out really well. Just a quick tip, if you don't want to spend money on, I don't know how much they charge for cargo nets at this point. I think it's like $300 to $400 just for like a cargo net. Go to PetSmart, buy the big extra large dog crate. It's the same brand in every PetSmart. 120 bucks, and take it apart and you have two sets of basically cargo cage that you can hook things to, and it works great for holding extra straps and anything you really want to keep held in place. It works really well for that. Pretty proud of that. The back, we haven't looked at this in a couple of days, but this is all our stuff. We have a system in place. We've been using it the entire time. It's worked out for the most part. My computer bag and camera gear, my sleeping bag, Braxton's sleeping bag, my sleeping pad, Braxton's sleeping pads, Roscoe's cot, 20-pound propane tank, Roscoe's dog food container, 6-gallon jug of water. This is just kind of odds and ends. It's just a duffel bag. It's got mostly first aid stuff in it, like a lot. It's a kit that my wife kind of put together for me. It's got everything that you would ever possibly need in a medical situation. But it's also got random stuff like a Bluetooth speaker. It's got a USB fan. It's got, I think there's an extra hammer in there for tent stakes, stuff like that. It's just anything that was kind of laying loose right before we left. Stuck it in the bottom of the bag, put a little first aid stuff on top, and then it's been going right here. This is all Roscoe stuff. Don't need to go through it. There's toys in there, there's dishes, and this famous Boss shirt. All his stuff's in there, and then if you open this up, The 2 camping cots are in here. They happen to fit perfectly in this space, so that's where they went. I'm just gonna take them out of the way just to show you what's going on underneath. But these Jeeps have a storage container kind of built into the trunk area. It's got a cover on it. I took the cover off because I knew that the cooler was going to be here and I still want to be able to use that space. So down here is just, you know, all kinds of random stuff. Anything that I would need without wanting to get onto the roof, taking the ratchet strap off, opening that case and pulling tools and crap out. There's vice grips in here. There's a 13mm wrench, which is used for everything on a Jeep. There's a hammer, bottle jack, tire repair kit, some extra carabiners, earplugs, breaker bar, all the stuff that I would need to change the tires, all in here. Some contractor bags, garbage bags, and that worked out well. Got an extra serpentine belt, all this extra stuff, fuses and all that crap, just kind of here, so it's easily accessible. The only other thing in here is Pelican Cooler. Going forward, we're probably not going to do this. It just happened to fit in here this way, and it just kind of worked out to where it made sense to bring this rather than going out and buying a fridge. I already had the cooler, thanks to a friend of mine who let me use it. So, but it's a pain in the get in and out. You have to take everything out anytime you want to access the cooler. So anytime you realize you're out of ice and you go to the gas station and you buy bags of ice, you have to take all this stuff out, put the ice in, put it all back. It's a real nightmare. Definitely not an ideal setup for that, but it does fit here. And when the stuff is out and you're at camp, you know, it's nice that the cooler's in there, it's easily accessible, but as far as getting it in and out, it's a total nightmare. And here we have a fire extinguisher. And then slid in here is our little privacy shelter for the bathroom slash shower. Just a little easy pop-up thing. And that's all the stuff back here. Pretty much everything as far as accessories for the Jeep, camping gear that's in the Jeep, all that stuff, we're going to put links to that stuff in the description below. If you see something that we talked about and there's no link for it in the description, just shoot us a quick comment or whatever, we'll add it. No big deal. We get tons of questions about this stuff, like what kind of roof rack is it, what kind of cots are we using, what kind of camping table is that. So all that stuff is just going to kind of be in this video. If you have any questions, just shoot us comments. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, tell everybody, tell your friends.
Your mama.
Yeah, tell your mama. And we got stuff planned coming up, so just keep your eyes on this channel, and we'll see you guys soon.